Blah, y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Cha-ching! And today we have a very special guest who is one of the head of the Moishe House in Las Vegas. Not only that, he is my Caruso, my Torah study partner. Give it up for your boy, Josh.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. You know, I'm your number one fan since like October when I met you.
So true.
But no, for real though, it's a big honor for you to ask for me to come onto your podcast. So I'm really happy to be here.
Of course, brother. It was hard for me to even book you. I had to talk to you.
It's hard. Dude, my life is it's a bit hectic in a good way, but I'm just glad I was able to make some time,
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Thank you. Well, I do want to share real quick, so my fans and like a little backstory. So you got a message. This is back in October. A random message from your fiance Tilly. And come Moishe House is gonna be a big event. And I was like, at first, I was like, is this a scam? Like, I do not know what is this. You know what I'm saying? So I called one of my boys, Hemi Wine, who I just had on the podcast. I said, did you get this flyer about the Moishe House? Like, is this real? And he goes, oh, yeah, they invited me too. I said, are you going? He's like, I got to see in my schedule. But yeah, it's legit. I said, all right, man, I trust you, brother. If you're saying this is real, I don't want to be kidnapped, disappear. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to,
Yeah, exactly.
So I get there. And the crazy thing, I got to say, it's a big house. And it was a big, beautiful celebration to see Adam, Kobe, and Noah and Josh, rating them, putting the mezuzah on their house, having Rabbi Bernstein to bless it. I thought, you guys had drinks, you guys had pizza. I think Rabbi Bernstein, the way he explained it on why it's important to have a mezuzah and the protection it does for your homes physically, it's just amazing, And you know what I'm saying, and I've had people like Rabbi Matt to put my mezuzah at my house, but I never thought of doing a big celebration for people to see it. And I thought what you did was amazing because it inspired me when I buy my first home, right? Like my condo or house. I want to do that same kind of concept, like invite a lot of people, celebrate together. In this process, I met my brother Josh, one of the most humblest brothers. We clicked from the first bat. Like when he saw I was drinking Modelo, he goes, "It's Modelo time."
It's one of my weaknesses.
I heard about it.
You heard about it.
Oh man, but brother, I do want to hear, what was your first impression when you first met me, and any memories you could share that we've done together.
Yeah, definitely. It goes a little bit obviously before that party we had, the mezuzah hanging party. So basically the night before, I think it was, that Tilly reached out to you, and I was just being like, okay, it's our first event, and like, help me invite as many Jews as we can find, and just send them a message. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I've seen your Facebook pop up a few times, and she's seen yours, and we weren't sure, like, this guy definitely has a Jewish name, like, we should definitely hit him up and like see what's going on with him. And then I saw you were friends with Hemi, and I saw that you had some photos with like young Israel involvement, and I was like, okay, so he's like probably friends with Hemi. Like, I'll probably like this guy. Let's hit him up. Let's let's get him over to the house. And so yeah, Tilly messaged you, and yeah, I remember when you walked in. I knew I liked you because you walked in and you wore a yarmulke. And like I didn't feel alone in this house. I was like, so I instantly like my eyes just pinned at you, and I see obviously the Modelo's in your hand. I'm like, man, this guy's a great guest, like. But no, we just started talking, and realized we have a lot of similar interests, especially in Judaism, and I'm just really glad to have gotten to know you, and you've been a great friend so far. Hopefully that continues. But I'm just, and what's awesome is I love how we, not just with you, but with other guys that were coming to my Moshe House events, like Lidor. I'm just glad like I was able to get a group of guys from that just to do like study sessions on our own, which is what we do with Rabbi Meth on Tuesday nights. And it's just been a lot of fun. What a journey. um, but yeah, it's been great. Like, because Rabbi Meth was like, you know, I feel like there's a big interest in wanting to learn Gemara, but like everyone's too scared to jump into it because they'll get lost, which is very true. But so I was like, yeah, let's get a beginner course going. I'm sure there's like honestly Jewish men that would be interested. Sure enough, there was, and I love it. It's like we're going back to it consecutively every week, and I just seeing the sheer enjoyment on your guys' faces is what makes me happy about it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful, brother.
honestly,
I gotta say,
yeah.
brother, one thing I gotta mention for people that don't know, for you to actually set up this Gemara class, right? Um, once a week. We've been how long, Josh? Maybe 6 months?
Since no, not 6 months, but I would say probably 3 months, 4 months. It's close. It feels like 6 months.
It does, it does. And, and
Yeah,
and I gotta say, like, I think it's so cool that we all bring something to the table with our debates,
exactly.
and I gotta be honest, I got to meet, Adir, Kyle, who are also my Harusos, my brothers.
Hmm.
And it's crazy how we started for 3 months, right? And not only that, we go to Mar first, so we pray for our night prayer,
Yeah,
and then we dive into Gemara, eating cholent. At the end, we feel like we took something out of that, and this like extra boost. And now, for the
exactly.
right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 exactly.
And for the first time, I got to give you credit, brother. If it wasn't for you, talking to Rabbi Med, trying to figure out all of our schedules, wouldn't have this class. And now we're actually doing twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday, Rabbi
Yeah,
Matt and Rabbi Davidowitz. So I think that's amazing, brother. You're doing a big mitzvah, a big deed, helping your brothers, get more closer to Hashem. I think that's a beautiful thing, brother. And I look at you like say like a leader, but not power. You know what I'm saying?
thank you, thank you. But no, in all honesty, it's just I just do it because look, I know how intimidating it is for someone who I know how intimidating it is for someone who basically isn't like so used to what's the right word, like Orthodox culture in a way, like going into a synagogue, sitting with a bunch of very Orthodox rabbis studying the Talmud, and it's like you feel like you're kind of not in your league, or like you just don't know what to do. But like I would say I'm almost Orthodox, but I'm very like obviously like the way I dress is not so white and black, and like I very much can like relate to people who are not religious, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why we got such a big group was this that I don't know I look like you're your average person who's just like just not religious, but like so you're able to have a better learning experience. Is my point. There's more people like you, and then you see like me getting all engaged with it, and then that will make you start wanting to ask questions and learn more. And I think it's kind of just we need to break that bubble that you know you don't have to be Orthodox to learn Talmud, basically, and like it's just a Jewish thing, and any Jew can be easily able to learn about it if they just desire to, Um, but so I'm just really enjoying just genuinely seeing like the questions like that you ask. Lidor is very engaging. Like I love seeing him just engage. And same thing with the deer and Kyle and everybody really. I just see like us just getting out of our little bubbles that we have, and when we're there, we just open up. Like it's just we're all brothers, and we're all just trying to learn the same thing, and that's honestly what I love the most out of it. So
Eh,
hopefully it continues more. And I'm not gonna lie, when we started, it was originally just once a week with Rabbi Meth. And then when the group came to me and they were like, "Listen, I want to talk to you," and I'm like, "Oh no, I thought you guys wanted to quit." But when you guys said like, "Oh no, we want to take on an extra day of studying," like I that honestly just made me so happy. That made my day, and I told Rabbi met that, and I'm not gonna lie, he got really happy that you guys wanted to learn more.
wow. Eh,
Yeah, no, it's a big thing. Like it's because it shows growth in a way, and just spiritual growth. It doesn't mean you're being religious. It just means like, hey, I have an interest in this, and I just want to learn more about it. Like that's just to me is just amazing, and that goes such a long way in the eyes of Hashem alone. But
I
yeah.
love that. I love that, but that's very deep, brother. And I want to ask you, man, I gotta be honest. You have a very a nice home. You've invited me over for Shabbat
Mhm.
many times. And I gotta be honest, man. Tilly, she knows how to throw down in the kitchen. She don't play around. She makes so much
Yeah.
food, bro. And
No, she
you know
does.
what I'm saying?
Thank God.
Right? And I like that, she's very attentive, very shows a lot of hospitality.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like too, when we had a Friendsgiving um last year, she made so much food, right? Kosher. Many of the people that came to the event have never probably not kosher food in their life,
No.
right? And
Yeah.
when they eat it, they're like, wow, what amazing. So you and Tilly are like this big, I would say, power couple because she's not only showing the world like kosher food and being more spiritual, influence other people. And
Yeah.
at the same time, you're helping out, the young people in different ways. I feel like you two together are like a big star that's all shine bright like a diamond. But you know what I'm saying? But I I,
Yeah. No,
I think it's
I would say that's probably because of Tilly's background in Chicago. She's from Skokie, but like her Jewish community was a real community. Like you can see like community matters a lot to her, and it matters to me too. I know I'll get into that in a minute, but um, so it's just like I love that she's able to show that to others, if that makes sense. Like providing kosher food for people who would normally not eat kosher food, but like just the fact that there's a Jew eating kosher food and he normally wouldn't be eating food, that's amazing, kosher food. But so there's that, and then like um, it's also I feel like community is the best way to gain friendships. Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. Like just doing a little basic. I feel like outreach is not the right word for it, but like little basic outreach, like just extending the invite by, hey, you want to come by for Shabbat, or like you want to come by for Shabbat lunch at least, or just to come do like go down to the kollel and daven with me real quick or whatever. But just like those acts, they it really goes a long way, and It's just like really what the community was like for how she grew up, and and she's trying to relay that here now.
That's
But for me, it's like the being with the Jewish community is like all I ever known here in Vegas. I'm born and raised in Las Vegas, so I really seen the community grow like crazy, like as it is now. But it's just I think it's just I know a lot of people, and that made it a lot easier for me to open up. But yeah, no, community goes insanely a long way. Like, let me tell you, I wouldn't be having as much fun studying if I didn't have like a really good friend with me. Like just having a friend that's going through it, the exact same stuff as I'm going through. Like I'm glad that I have that wavelength with you or like with anybody else, basically. So it's like it's that Jewish wavelength.
I like that, bro. That's
So
so
yeah,
deep. I gotta
yeah.
say one thing too. I think it's amazing. I have to share this story. Is that you know I know you have one of the oldest jewelry stores in Vegas, and one thing that I remember you told me is there's a guy that goes to the shop and puts tefillin on your father.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was beautiful. I mean, I was even shocked when you told me that story because he comes out of his day just to go to your shop and do that mitzvah for your father, and I think that's so inspiring because it's just like a little spark of light. You know what I'm saying? you know
yeah.
in Judaism we don't push you to become religious. We just
No,
kind of just show it. We just show it, like,
mhm.
lead by example. That's the big key. And
Exactly.
brother, if you could share a little bit about your jewelry store, because I think that's yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I'm a third generation jeweler in my family, and it all started with my grandfather. Um, he's actually my a stepdad to my dad, but long story short, he was a real dad to my dad, and he met him at age 12. So it basically was like if he was his real dad. But anyways, my grandfather is from Jerusalem, and he grew up very Orthodox. At this point in time, there really wasn't much really like sects of Orthodox Judaism. Like where there was always like Hasidish, but like, but anyways, he was like one of the old Jews from the Sinai campaign. That was like building old Jerusalem back then, like those old Jews, and basically he decided. I always butcher this word up. It's the he got all the way up to his simcha for to become a rabbi,
Oh,
um, and he chose not to finish it. He was like, you know what? I think my life is meant to be a businessman, actually. And so he served the military because he had to. And when he got out of the military, he went on a boat to what was it? The UK in London, and he was like cleaning mikvahs and also was a painter on the side, and just made enough money to get to New York. And what's cool about this one is my grandfather, I believe he was like on the very last voyage of the Queen Mary to go to New York.
wow.
Yeah, the Queen Mary that's docked on Long Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He arrived in America on that boat, and he was a very poor man. He arrived in America with just $100 bill in his pocket, pretty much, and that was it, just $100. And joined the fact. No, he actually ended up going into the restaurant business just again to make money. But eventually, through that, he found his connection to a jewelry factory in New York, and ended up working there. Started learning a little bit of the trade from the boss. He made enough money to migrate to to Los Angeles in like think it was the late 60s, I want to say. And then eventually meets my grandma um, at actually a club, believe it or not. And yeah, my grandfather ended up being a little less religious just because he had to do what he had to do to make ends meet. You know, he was very poor. He had to end up working on Shabbat. So he lost a little bit of his way, but he always kept the holiday special to him, though. But anyways, he ended up going to a club in like 1971, I want to say. Met my grandmother, married her in 72. And then my grandfather really needed trustworthy people to run the shop. And because it's a family business, you kind of get thrown into the work. So my dad and his brothers, two other brothers, got thrown into the shop very young age. My dad was 12 years old when he started learning how to just work in the back end, you know, be a bench jeweler. It really stuck to my dad the most, though. Out of my uncles, like my dad really did love what he was doing, and he actually continued doing it. And basically, yeah, so they were working very long. It was basically they would go to school. After school, he would have to take a bus to go to the store and work all the way till 9 o'clock. And it's 7 days a week, mind you. Yeah, and like my dad really had it hard, but in a way, it did teach him also like gratitude for things, I guess you could say, at a very young age. And so around 16 years old, my dad started to. At this point, my grandfather had two stores, one on Hollywood Boulevard and Hudson, I want to say. I could be wrong about those cross streets, but it was on Hollywood Boulevard. And then there was another one on Melrose. And I don't know how, but my dad decided to leave. I guess they managed without him. And basically, I think it was like a feud between not a feud, just a fight between my grandpa and my dad. So he took a break from them and started working with another jeweler on Hollywood Boulevard and learned from him. And that's where he really got a jump start on his creativity and design work. Just when he wants to design a ring, bracelets, whatever, just like he needed to learn from someone else, if that makes sense. Like when you learn under one thing your whole life, you're gonna get jagged and like you need something fresh. So my dad started learning more and more to the point where like he goes, "Oh, you want to learn how to work on watches and like change movements, all that stuff." So he taught my dad how to deal with basic repair on watches, like to the point that my dad actually made his own watch, believe it or not. So he would take a dial in hands, like there was scrap parts, you know. He didn't like go to like a company to get it made. Like he was pulling parts from watches, but it made like a gold nugget band and like made a whole gold watch basically, which is pretty cool. You know, you don't really hear that often, but so he really accelerated with that. He would go down to like the flea market in Fairfax, and he built his own showcases, installed his own like the glass in the showcase, had his own little setup to sell jewelry and repair shop. At age 16, by the way. And then eventually the fight dies down. You know, Israeli parents. He comes back to them. He starts working with them for a while. And then my grandfather heard about the Meadows Mall getting built in Las Vegas, saw opportunity out here. So he moved out here in 82. The whole family moved out here in 82, opened up their shop called Meadows Manufacturing Jewelers, and continued that for like 20 something years. And then there was one more shop. I don't know the name of it. It was only for a short time. And then my family was like, my grandpa at age 59 was like, you know what, I'm going to retire. And my dad was like very young. He was like late 30s, early 40s, and was like, no, I'm going to retire too. He tried to retire. Um, he had like, I remember when I was a very little kid, he had like a bench and like other jewelry workshop, just the whole workshop in this office that we had in our house, and then the casting machine and all that stuff for casting was in the garage. So he would have to move over there sometimes, but he would teach me at a young age, like casting. Not really like crazy the teaching like a 5-year-old with a blowtorch, but like he would just have me hold like the take the what's it called, the investment. I don't know how to describe it with you. It's like I, there's a wax carving, and it's there's this base that you attach it to, and then there's like a cylinder that goes onto it, and you fill it with this plaster satiny type of mixture. And then you got to get like the air pressure out so all the bubbles rise and stuff. But anyways, and then you put it in a kiln, and what happens is the wax melts out, and what's left is a cavity, and that's what you shoot whatever like melted metal you're working with. So let's just say gold. When I have it at that liquid state, I put it in a centrifugal casting machine, and it spins around, shoots the metal in there. What happens is the metal goes into that cavity that where the wax once was, and that's how it shapes the ring or a pendant or whatever you're making. So, anyways, that's what he taught me at a very young age. That was like my first taste of jewelry. It was in my house. But anyways, he got busy, my dad. More people kept asking him for repair work, and then it got into custom work, and then can you make me this? Can you make me that? He got too busy, so he got an office like building. Not he didn't pay for an office building, at least an office building. I mean, or a suite, and did it there. Got too big again, to the point he was like, "All right, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to business here," and just like he found this shop on Flamingo and Grand Canyon, which is where we're at today. It's called Aaron Layla Jewelers, and we just had our 19th year anniversary, so we're going on our 20th. So yeah, so that's on that location. But we're like all together. My dad has a name out here for 41 years. Very like he when my grandfather moved out here, it was just the perfect time because the only other there was a couple big name jewelers like Fish Jewelers and all that stuff. But Mordecai, which was the Jewelers of Las Vegas, he moved out here in '72, and he ended up being like Elvis's jeweler. He ended up being like in the name, the jeweler of Las Vegas. But so it's like basically when my grandpa moved out here, and my dad makes incredible work, and like they worked so hard to the point where it's like really Mordecai's his competitor and a couple other local chains, but like we made it enough to the point where we're constantly getting on the top 20 list of best jewelry stores in Las Vegas, and we're always within the 1 to 5 range, and we're really 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 well known. Like I can walk anywhere in the city and I'll just say my last name and they'll relate it to the store.
Well,
Like that's what it's a good thing and a bad thing, but like
dude,
um but yeah, no, it's just like my point is that they were very successful out here, and I'm really happy that they were able to, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool because it's like I'm constantly getting recommendations constantly, and like uh not recommendations, sorry, referrals to my store constantly from people like that I didn't even know of, or they'll hear it on the radio, and then anyways, so that's that whole story. But I started working there. Really, I always came in as a kid, but my dad really put me to work. He wanted to be a little more generous than his dad, so he put me to work at 14 instead of 12.
oh man, brother,
Family
that's
business, you know.
I feel you, but well, look, brother, I gotta say, man, you your family build their basically like their empire, like their business
A little bit. Yeah.
passion, right? This is something that felt like this
Yeah.
is their
I
calling,
was,
you know?
mhm. I was
And
gonna say actually, I originally I didn't even want to do this. I hated it. I didn't want anything to do with jewelry. I felt like it was kind of like forced upon me. I wasn't sure I didn't want to do this. My dad gave me a choice that he didn't have, right? And he was like, "Look, you can go to college, figure out what you want to do. I'm not going to rob you of your dream or whatever like that. Which so I ended up going to college. Couldn't figure it out what I wanted to do with my life. I tried working some jobs, and I was like, I'm just gonna go back to jewelry in the meantime till I can figure this out because I need money. I ended up going back. Now, oh yeah, just so you can understand, I stopped working there around 17 to 18 just because my dad and I wouldn't get along too well. And then there was also some mental health issues, just like depression that I was dealing with at the time. But so I just stepped away, just did what I had to do. Um, but then I came back at like age 20, more of an adult mindset than my teenager mindset. And I remember just going back to work and I'm just like, why did I hate this? It's like I get to do something different every day, which is what I wanted. Like I did not want an office job. Like if I would have had an office job, I'd probably lose my mind. It's just the way my brain's wired. I have to be doing something different at all times. So I'm constantly doing different repairs, constantly making different jewelry, like designs wise, or like just manufacturing in general. It's like every day is a new thing, basically. And I started liking it more. I was making jewelry, just basic stuff I was learning off of, just make a plain band. Okay. So he taught me, my dad taught me how to do some basic stuff. And then I started learning from other benchmen and my dad as well that we hired, at the store. And I'm not a master jeweler right now. I'm only like only like 5 years in now from when I came back to work, because
yeah.
that's where I really counted. Because that's when I really started doing more work, Um, but yeah, so I would say I'm about intermediate on terms of like on how of a good of a jeweler I am. My dad's a very good jeweler. He's the master.
No, that's amazing, bro. Look, I really enjoy your story. I'm about to wrap it up because Zoom is about to kick us out. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
let me just say, guys, this is the outlet to reality. The podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Cha-ching! Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the outlet to reality. My Snapchat is Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And Josh, my brother, thank you for being on the show. Where can my fans find you?
Definitely. Thank you for having me. My Instagram is just jlelah. And then my TikTok, you can either search Josh the Jeweler or you can search my at Josh Layla the Jeweler.